Hey everyone, this is Eric with Crystal Cove Conservancy, and I wanted to show you how to use SageModeler to create a computer model that will help us think about the components and processes that might affect the fish populations in the Crystal Cove State Marine Conservation Area. SageModeler is a really cool free online tool that you can use to create computer models of different systems. One quick note before you get started, only one person can edit the model on SageModeler. So if you are working with a research team, you'll need to pick one person to make changes and manipulate the model. And then have that same person share their screen so that everyone else can see it. Using SageModeler is very easy. Once you click on the link provided and open up your model, in the center you'll see our modeling question, which is what affects the fish populations in the Crystal Cove State Marine Conservation Area? The first thing you'll want to do is choose a picture to represent one of the components and processes that you think are important. These images can be found on the upper left-hand section of your screen. Start by clicking on New Image, and then using the search bar to look for one of the components or processes on your list. For this demonstration, I'm going to choose the main component of our modeling question, which is fish populations. So I'm going to look for an image of a fish. Once I choose the image of fish that I want, I can click on Add Image and close this. Next, once I have that chosen, I can click and drag the image of my fish over to my model and drop it down. Make sure to always label the items that you drag into your model, as you want to make sure you know what they represent. So I'm going to label this as fish populations. I can continue to add other components that I think will be important in my model from the list of components and processes that my research team created. So I might search for photos to represent plankton, water temperature, or fishing by repeating the same process. So I'm going to do it again, click on New Image. This time I'm going to choose plankton, choose an image of a plankton, and then add that into my model. And don't forget to label it. Next, I want to connect the components that I think have a relationship with one another. So I'll hover my mouse over one of the components of interest and then click and hold the arrow that appears. I can drag that over to something that I think it affects. So for instance, I think the number of plankton is going to affect the fish populations. Next, once I drag that, you'll see that there is a connection between the two components that I have added here. When I want to describe this relationship between plankton and fish populations, I can double click on the arrow and we will have some information appear over here on the right hand side, which causes me to think about what this relationship is. So it asks me and it prompts me with a sentence frame that says, an increase in plankton causes fish populations to, and then select an option. When I click on select an option, I have the option of increase, decrease, or vary. And I think it increases, so I'm going to choose increase. Then it's going to add another part to the sentence frame that says by, and then you can select another option about the same, a lot, a little, more and more, and less. And I think I'm going to choose about the same. You'll notice that it also creates a graph for you as a visual representation. Lastly, it also asks why I think this relationship is the way that it is. So I can write my response here. So I might think that plankton increases the fish populations because fish rely on plankton as a food source. So I can write something simple as some fish use plankton as a food source. And then I can click out. And you'll notice that your arrow is now a different color, which shows that there is a relationship between them. If you want to check that relationship again, you can just double click on it and you can see it pop up as well. Then, after that is done, I'll keep doing that and adding additional components and processes to my model, such as fishing or water temperature, as I stated earlier. Finally, you'll want to know how to save your model. Click on the icon on the upper left-hand corner here that has 3 bars, and then select the option that says Save. When you do so, it's going to prompt you to save it in a few different manners, and you can choose which one works best for you. So you can do Google Drive, You just need to log into your Google Drive so you can save it there, or you can save it as a local file onto your desktop that you can share with other people as well. You can also share a link to your model by using the share option so that others can view it online without having to download any files. You can do the same thing by clicking on these three lines up here and clicking on share and get a link to the shared view. And that's it. Spend some time playing with SageModeler and setting up your model. I look forward to see what you come up with.